Welcome, everyone. I'm hopeful that I will be successful tonight. That'll be my project to achieve success. That's the subject we're talking about tonight, achieving success on your project. And looking at how you can do that through career skills and what kind of job you might want to consider. So my goal tonight is to give you some information about your next career move or your first career move, and to answer any questions you might have about projects. My history, I've been a project manager for many, many years, more years than I'm going to tell you. But I've been in government jobs, mostly for the US government, some foreign countries also, developing international systems for military and also electronic surveillance. And so I've seen a lot of development work, a lot of software, hardware, and I'm a good candidate for someone who can advise you on how to be successful in an interview, because one of my jobs was to interview project managers and hire project managers. And I know what to look for, and I teach my classes in a way that my students know what to look for or what to do in an interview session. So I want to pass a little bit of that on to you tonight. With the help of my colleagues, I hope we will be successful. I will entertain questions as we go through the slides. I don't want to take too long. Don't want to go till 10 o'clock here tonight. We're going to end this thing hopefully at 7. Alan, would you have anything to add before we start? Or Gail?
No, Frank, that was a great start. I think what Frank said is, the focus is on really helping them be better tomorrow, right? So learn it tonight and apply it tomorrow.
Right.
It's kind of a motto. So.
Okay. All right, let's get started. So the agenda tonight is who we are as a teaching institution and what we do. We're going to talk about the project manager of the future as we see it. I like to think of the project manager of the future as a mission leader, someone who's leading a mission, who's part of the group, who's going to be successful. Not someone who stands aside and directs people, but part of the group, part of the team. We'll talk about workplace trends as we see them. We're looking at now, if you're not already aware, we're looking at more agility and more lean thinking projects. And so we need people who are agile, who can change direction quickly, and who can think lean and mean, as we say. And we'll talk about what that means in a few moments. And we're going to talk about a little bit about what different career paths you might follow, what's available to you, what we see to be available. And that's opening up. That's very wide now. A lot of career paths for project managers. And then we'll briefly talk about upcoming courses that we offer here at UC Santa Cruz Extension. And finally, we'll do a question and answer with the group, although I encourage questions during the presentation. So UC Santa Cruz has been around for a while, over 50 years of experience in continuing education. And the people who are teaching these courses are people who are working professionals. They're very experienced. So you get the benefit of not professional teachers, but professionals who work in the areas that they're teaching, which I think is a big advantage. We offer a broad range of courses. Business area, that's where projects and program management sits, in the business area. In addition, we have biosciences, design, technical areas of design and technology, education, and also a technology area. So we believe our programs offer the knowledge and the skills for advancing in your field. And I can say that from experience, because when I joined UC Santa Cruz, it was for the reason I was between jobs and I wanted to advance in my career to my next position. That's how I got started with UC Santa Cruz as a student and later became an instructor. Making a career change, if you're making a career change, like I described for myself. If you want to capture a new opportunity, even in your own business area, your own facility, your own organization as you now work. you want to advance, say from a project manager to a senior project manager or to a program manager. Hopefully we can give you, and I know we actually can give you the opportunities to do that by learning the practices and procedures that we teach in the classroom. So we bring these real world practices to the classroom. I know my colleagues, my other colleague instructors do the same. I have simulations in my classroom where you actually are putting together project plans and project exercises that simulate real world situations, as I experienced them at least. So we're going to expose you to what's going on currently and the process that are being looked at, not only now, but what we see in the near future. And as I mentioned, we thrive in learning in a simulated environment where we actually simulate an actual project and you make a deliverable to a actual, well, to a simulated customer, actual customer being the instructor. So we're focusing on practical knowledge that you can put to work when you leave a classroom. Any comments from my colleagues? Anything you want to add? I can't be doing that well, Gail. You had nothing to add.
I think for my classes, which I teach in the Lean Agile project management specialization, that we also offer a lot of the hands-on activities that you would do for Scrum ceremonies, along with, learning about how you would ideate from, the top level portfolio management down to the team level.
Right.
In Agile. So very hands-on experiential types of training that go along with all of the things that you mentioned.
I agree. Right. Yeah. I think that's one of the exciting things about not only being a student, but being an instructor. I find it really stimulating for myself to see my students operate in a real world environment and see what their performance is in that classroom environment that really closely simulates the real world. Now we are, just recently, in the last year, we are a authorized training partner with the Project Management Institute, okay, which means we are authorized to support professional development project manager practitioners in the pursuit and maintenance of their PMI credentials. For instance, we teach a PMP, Project Management Professional exam training course, and we use official PMI material to do that. So we are a partner with PMI, Project Management Institute, in exam preparation for the PMP certificate, okay, which is a globally recognized certificate, in addition to the certificate that we offer at UC Santa Cruz. And I'm gonna mention a little bit about that a little later. So we are authorized and we're well recognized. We're listed in the PMI online listings for authorized trainers. So we're using official material when you're talking about PMI certifications. Well, this is an interesting slide. I pulled off the website for the Project Management Institute, okay? And we're talking about the project manager of the future. And it hit me that they're really nailing it as far as telling us what's going to happen in the future, what's they're predicting for the future. We're talking about digital age project management. Well, what does that mean, digital age project management? We're going to need the skills to thrive in a fast speed, high speed, disruptive times. What's happening today, if you haven't noticed, everything is being electrified. Everything we know is being electrified. Go out and look at the cars on the road. The reciprocating engines disappearing quickly. Maybe not as quickly as some environmentalists like to see, but they are disappearing and they will disappear. And all our cars are going to be electrified. Our homes are electrified. We have the Internet of Things. I'm not going to say her name, but I have her right on my desk. It starts with an A. And I have a Google Assistant in the other room. So we're heading straight into the digital age. And actually, we're already into it. And that is such a great opportunity for project managers. There's so much wider areas that we can be involved in, starting with AI, robotics, environmental issues. So we have, as project managers and as potential project managers, we have a great future in terms of choices that we can make in our careers. We're going to be very valuable. We are very valuable as project managers. So as an instructor, I get questions from my students. And my philosophy is, you know, in order to become successful and a sought after project manager, or a sought after anything, any kind of career, if you want to be successful and sought after, you must immerse yourself in a career-long commitment to learning and improving, because you need to change with the change that's happening. And the change is happening more rapidly every day. So you need to lead and to match the change that's happening around you. So students come to me and say, Frank, should I get the UCSC extension PMP certificate, project and program management certificate, or should I go out and get the PMI professional project management certificate? And my answer is yes, 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 get both and more. Get all the certifications you can get that have anything to do with what you're going to be doing or what you want to do in the future. You cannot stop learning. That's not an option. And I tell them, you know, if you stop learning, there's someone in junior college or high school that's studying to replace you. So if you don't keep up with the change around you, someone will, and they will replace you eventually. So the answer to that is keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding your capabilities. So I've mentioned a little bit of this already. What are the workplace trends? I'm sorry, agile and lean project leadership. All right. So we're gonna deal with a lot of what's coming by being agile. What do I mean by being agile? I mean by being agile to be adaptive, to change based on what you know at the moment, and be able to change directions depending on what you found in the last increment of time. Okay, so we talk about increments of time, being agile, being adaptive. Don't get stuck in one area and think that's the way to go all the time. You need to be able to be flexible. Okay, that's implementing agility, and we can do that on a project. We can do that in everyday life. Lean thinking is saying, well, we want to do things quickly, we want to reduce waste, and we want to produce value for our customers as fast as possible. Okay, so this is the kind of thinking that we're looking at. There are other corollaries to that, but this is the kind of direction we're going in right now, and our courses reflect that. And every day we design new courses to get close to that idea. So we're looking at the digitization of everything. Everything's going to be digitized. Once you electrify, and then you're going to digitize. Okay, everything's being digitized. You can see that already happening. So we're going to have rapid changes everywhere. We're already seeing that. The Internet of Things is happening. Our homes are becoming part of a node on a network, right? Our houses, our homes. We're seeing, and Gail's an expert in this area, we're seeing the adaptation of workflow. How do we get these things accomplished? How do we run projects in order to be lean and agile, all right? And what we're seeing is, right now, it's an area called discipline agile that's been developing over a number of years, and PMI has adopted this philosophy. And basically what it says is context is important. Depending on what you're doing, you adapt your workflow to the circumstances and the commitments you've made. Okay? So it's part of that flexibility, part of that agility that's going to be applied to any project, whether it's a old waterfall project or it's a highly developmental software or digitizing project. Okay, so we're saying, look, let's look at what we're doing and let's adapt to that. So as a project manager in the future, you're going to have to take that mental framework and say, all right, I need to be adaptable. I need to look at what I'm doing and look at the context and adapt to it. And I need to adapt my team to that. All right. And that's what the current thinking is. And it's supported by lean thinking and agile implementations. It's a natural structure, all right, for discipline agile. And we now offer, in fact, Gail's teaching a discipline agile course. She's teaching a discipline agile course, the foundations of discipline agile, which I highly recommend. In fact, I think I'd like to take the course. So we're evolving into that area as a school, as an institution. And so we're trying to produce value for our customers. We want to produce it fast, and we want to be flexible to the needs of our customer and to the requirements. So we have a challenge as project managers, students. We have a challenge, but boy, are they great challenges. They're exciting areas to be involved with.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. And I think to add to what you said, with the new PMBOK coming out, and I believe it's coming out in August, which I helped write, or I was a reviewer, and it also is adapting to different ways of working and being very flexible by having a principle-based approach, which is radically different thinking for the PMBOK, where before, you know, it was the areas of practice, and now it's moving into the principles, and you pick and choose in a cafeteria style to adapt to your way of working. So all of PMI is going that way to really support environments that are agile, that are waterfall, and the mix of the two, which is hybrid. So I think it is the way of the future in terms of the trends for agile and lean project leadership.
Yeah, I think it's so exciting. I mean, I find it so exciting that I would like to go back a couple decades and start over, to tell you the truth, and do this again. You know, do these be a project manager in these kind of projects. All right. I mean, I've worked on some pretty exciting projects. All right. I can see that the future is going to be a lot of the same or even more. All right. It's just an exciting time to be considering doing these kind of work. So what kind of career paths? Well, there's a lot of career paths. And I've got some here that may be pretty common. You know, if you want to be a project manager, when I started out, I graduated as an engineer. I was an electrical engineer, and I was enthralled with, I was like into aerodynamics, rocketry. So I joined Lockheed here in Sunnyvale. That's how I got to California. I said, I want to work for an aerospace company. I'm going to design, you know, some kind of system over there. So I got into guidance and control systems, designing guidance and control systems for boosters that put satellites in orbit. Okay. But I had no idea about being a project manager. I'm kind of an accidental project manager. I worked in a team, people who putting together sophisticated equipment. And at some point in my career, I can't remember how many years it was before someone says, hey, you want to lead this group? You want to lead this team? And I said, yeah, why not? I'll lead that team. And so I became like a team leader. Okay. And, you know, the team was successful, and that team joined another team. And pretty soon we got projects. And then someone says, you want to be a project manager? I said, well, okay. So I fell into it kind of by accident. I wasn't thinking ahead. Some people were asking me when I wanted to do these things. And I found my work pretty exciting. I was able to communicate well with my colleagues, and I guess I was able to, you know, management looked at me as someone who could lead a team. And I had the technology, I had the background, technical background. So that's how I fell into it. So I'm thinking, you know, for people who want to enter project management is like the icing on the cake. You know, you got to have a cake. Like my cake was, I was a technical person. Okay, I knew electronics, and I worked in electronics groups for a number of years. And then someone asked me to be an overviewer, a leader of a group, which worked really well because I knew the technology, so I could talk the language. So a lot of people get into that project management position through that door, okay? Some people don't. Some people say, well, I want to be a project manager from the start, and they start out and say, well, first of all, I'll work for a project, I'll be a project coordinator that helps the project manager do his job or her job. And then I can work into project manager as I learn that skill. And then I'll be running bigger projects. I'll become a senior project manager. Then I'll be a program manager. I've got a whole bailiwick of projects. I've got a number of programs is a group of related projects. Okay, so I became a program manager. That was one of my steps. A portfolio manager, where you're actually doing projects and programs in a large portfolio, and you can work your way into a business area, which I did. I worked into a business area. I ended up a division manager before they sold my company. So I worked that stream right through electrical engineer, through team leader, project manager, all the way up, which was my path. It doesn't have to be your path, but it's a pretty common path. Okay, so you can see some of these paths. Now, you really need to reinforce yourself if you're going to be on this path by having the background, the education, and the availability of what's happening. So you need to keep close to what's going on in your field. And one of the ways of doing that is certifications. Earn these certifications, take the courses, talk to people. And one of the most powerful things I found in my career is who you talk to, who knows of you. You know, you got to network. In other words, that's the old term, networking with people. Okay, and there's a lot of networking going on today. We have computer networking, we have Facebook, and all these things that we didn't have in my day, but it's much easier to network. But you have more competition networking also, because of the number of people that are networking through the web. But you know, this is my idea. It may not be everyone's idea of what a career path would be to project management and above. Okay. Any more comments or questions on that? I don't want to leave that. I don't want to leave this too early, but I think this is an important area to see where you might be going. Okay, and how you might get there, how you might plan it. Okay, Gail, here's a slide that you might want to talk about.
Sure, yeah, this is a slide that in a nutshell describes the Discipline Agile framework that, as Frank started to introduce, is very adaptive and flexible so that organizations can choose their ways of working, which is the part about the context counts. So really in the center of it all is delighting customers, which is important to all of Agile. At the end of the day, you're building a product to delight your customers and really be able to have a product that reflects customer and business value. And then all these things around the perimeter of that really just support it in terms of setting up your ways of working and using a lean mindset, which is optimizing flow and all of the other items that are listed here in terms of enterprise awareness, being awesome, always having the team be their best, pragmatism, which is the practical, again, context counts to look at different ways of working, and last but not least, that choice is good. So again, having organizations be able to choose their way of working is really at the core of Discipline Agile. And then once you choose the way of working, then it does provide specific guidance in terms of the areas that are selected. And we cover all this in the Discipline Agile class, so it is an introductory class. There is a certification offered by the Project Management Institute. We do not offer it this time, but this is considered an introductory course that would be part of the certificate program as an elective, and it would certainly prepare you for the later certification courses such as the Discipline Agile Scrum Master, and now they have a Discipline Agile value stream, etc. So it will give you the fundamentals you need to move on to other areas of expertise in your career with Discipline Agile.
All right. Are there any questions? I find this to be a very exciting area. I have to be frank with you. No pun intended. The introduction of this by PMI some time ago, I was skeptical because I said, "Oh, here comes another agile process." Okay, we had Scrum, we had Crystal, we had Evo, we have Kanban, and you name it, and we got all these different so-called agile processes. And I looked at this as, oh, just another one. But now I've really it's grown on me that this is really inclusive of all that came before. And it says, hey, if Scrum makes sense for what you're doing, then do it. But you don't have to do it religiously. When it doesn't make sense anymore, switch to whatever makes sense. And so I believe Discipline Agile offers a great library of proven techniques that they ask you or they remind you of that you could use to help you make decisions about which way you go with your development process or the project you're working on. And I thought that was pretty clever, and it is pretty clever, and I think it's got staying power. I think it's something that's going to stay with us for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you both. There actually is one question, and Shanika, I hope I'm saying your name right. She actually wants to ask her questions instead of type it, so I'm going to go ahead and invite her to speak.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And you did pronounce my name perfectly. Thank you. You have questions, but it's more like on a general of the program. So I don't know if it's more appropriate to ask them towards the end. It's not.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
So I was curious to know, I did a lot of research on the project management program that's offered through this school, as well as UC Berkeley and UCLA and the Irvine. And one thing that attracted me most about this program is that you guys are centered more within the IT, like software industry, or at least that's what it appeared from, like, just reviewing the outline that you guys have online for a lot of the courses and just the program overview. And I'm also coming from a software development background, not from a very technical, not from a development standpoint, but from a systems analyst. I thought that this would probably help, as like I've always been a business systems analyst and I'm trying to transition into project management or technical project management. And so I was just wondering, do you guys focus more? I noticed that there's a huge emphasis on Agile. That's one of the major differences that I saw that was distinguished. And how much of this course has been updated, if so, to reflect that 7th edition that you guys discussed a little earlier, the 7th edition changes? Because I don't know, for me, like just having a high level understanding of like the 49 processes and the 10 knowledge areas, and then looking at the changes that they're going to be implementing, I think it's like 8 processes or something like that. Like I'm finding it hard to kind of like transition the current one to the 7th edition that's going to come out. I don't know if you have any.
Well, the 7th edition is late.
It's
supposed to. It's like a true project. Okay, it's late. In the 7th edition, we haven't really designed courses per se to the 7th edition because we don't have the 7th edition. But the 6th edition hasn't gone away, and I don't believe it's going to go away. It may, but the thinking is the 6th and 7th edition may stand together for a while, at least until there's some transition, which may be a year or two. But we would, when the 7th edition comes out, we certainly will be incorporating those principles and practices and procedures into our courses. We have to stay current. Like I told you in a prior slide, we have to stay current also. We have to keep up with the change that's changing around us. So yeah, we're heading that direction. And Gail's course is the first major thrust into discipline Agile, but waterfall is not going away. There's a lot of stuff that's still doing waterfall, not so much development of software projects, but there are some, some waterfall projects, but there's a lot of principles that come out of waterfall that are adapted to agile processes. Okay.
Yeah,
Frank,
and I would say to add to what you said, Frank, one of the things that differentiates us from UC Berkeley is that we're an ATP. We're the authorized training provider, and we're the only one. So that is one. So once the materials do come out officially for the 7th edition, then we will be the first to get them as the authorized training provider. And then the fact that we get all the templates and the slides and things for both Discipline Agile as well as the PMP certification classes. The other thing is in terms of the PMBOK version 7 changes, because I was a reviewer for that, it's really coming from a lot of the Agile principles. So if you take any of the Agile classes, or I have one on principle-based leadership, we do cover some of the overarching principles. But the difference in the PMBOK version 7 is that it now supports Agile projects, whereas it did not before in version 6. But the only thing that did was, starting to introduce the PMI-ACP, et cetera. So anyway.
I think 6th edition had an Agile addendum they added.
That's right. They have that extra book that was written by some colleagues that I know. Yes.
Right.
If I can add something, Frank.
Absolutely.
One of the things about the PMBOK updates is that it's not coming from just PMI, somewhere up in the cloud somewhere. It's actually reflecting the practice that's out there in the real world. So it's both, coming up and then coming back down, if you will. So one of the things about having, practitioners is in the classroom, both as instructors and your colleagues as students, is a lot of the stuff that you're going to see in the updates to the PMBOK are things that we've already started to talk about in the classes, because you can't help it, right? Your classes have to reflect the realities of what's going on out there in the field. So I think you get to take advantage of some of that because of the way it's not just an academic enterprise in our classes.
Right. I really think that the Discipline Agile and some of the other lean Agile frameworks or processes, they're kind of turning back to reality. I can remember when I ran projects, we did hybrid projects. We did projects where part of it was developmental, highly developmental, and highly agile, highly flexible. And other parts of the projects, these systems we built were well known. We just built them, we built them before, and we're going to marry them with the other part. So, and that's what Discipline Agile is saying. Do what works for whatever you're doing. If you're doing a hybrid type of development where part of it is really highly developmental, but part of it is stuff you've done before, you think about it. There's a lot of projects that way.
Yeah.
And Discipline Agile is saying, hey, don't try to do that waterfall part using an Agile or Scrum, okay? You use the processes from the PMBOK, edition 6, that say these are the best practices for that type of work. But if you're doing something that's highly unknown, you don't know where you're going with it, okay? It's highly volatile. Then you look at these other techniques where you're incrementally making progress. So I think we're headed in the right direction. I think the future is really exciting for projects and project management. Really, I'm impressed personally, at least. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, so we have this program at UC Santa Cruz. It's a project and program management certificate program. And this program requires 4 courses, which is 105 classroom hours, 3 elective courses, which would add up to a minimum of 45 classroom hours. And you need to, in order to get the certificate, you need to maintain a grade point average across your course of 3.0. And the minimum acceptable grade for any course is C. And you have 5 years to complete all the courses, those 7 courses, in order to get your candidacy, in order to get your certificate, okay? So that's just the overview of getting the PM certificate, okay? And when I left my job as a project manager, I left one job, I was ready to go to another job. I took the PM certificate course, and it was a great help for me to transition. And later I went and got also the PMP course. So I started with the project and program management course here at UC Santa Cruz. That was my personal experience. We also offer a Lean Agile project management specialization, okay? And there you have to have 2 required Lean Agile project management courses, which is 30 classroom hours, 2 elective Lean Agile project management courses, which is 30 classroom hours. Again, a 3.0 minimum grade point, and minimum grade is C. So this gets you a specialization, all right, in Lean Agile, okay? This could be done together with the project and program management certificate. So you can get both of these, the certification and the specialization, by satisfying these requirements as you also satisfy the project and program management certification. I think you can count the 30 classroom hours towards your project and program management certification. Okay, so they overlap. If you could do these together, they'll overlap somewhat. So you can come out with both these certificates. I won't call it certificates. One's a certificate, one's a specialization. So this is a list of courses. You can find this on our website. The list of current courses, here's the 2 required Lean Agile project management courses, which you need to take for the Lean Agile project management specialization, okay? So it's achieving organizational agility using scale Agile framework and Agile project management using Scrum, okay? And then you would take you could take 2 electives from the group that follows. There's 6 courses there. Now these courses also count towards your certification. All these courses also count towards your PM certification, okay? So there's an overlap. You just have to take a little bit more of a couple more of the Lean Agile project management courses in order to get the specialization, okay? So if you wanted to concentrate on Lean Agile and you want to get your PM, you could do it efficiently that way, okay? And then we also offer the PMP, the Project Management Professional Exam Preparation course, as we mentioned before. Gail mentioned that. This is a course that's being conducted right now live online, hopefully someday in the classroom. We're using, again, the material that we are authorized to use as a training partner with PMI. So we're using their material to teach this course, which I think improves greatly your chances of passing that exam. Okay. Any questions? We offer 26 courses right now. Four required courses, I mentioned that before, 21 elective courses. We've got 7 what we call leadership and management courses in that category. We have 6 tools and techniques courses that gets down in the tools and techniques. And we have these 8 Lean Agile project management courses, which I mentioned, okay? And then we have 1 PMP prep exam course. So that's our curriculum. changing constantly. We're always getting proposals for new courses. So we're adding courses, and we will be changing and adding courses as PMI grows the curriculum and grows the requirements for the PMP certification, also the Discipline Agile certifications. There's our website. It's got a lot of information there. Enrollment procedures, policy details. And I hope there's some questions so we can give you some answers.
Thanks so much, everyone. I think one question that has come up a bunch, and it's whether or not these classes will be online or in person, and just as a blanket, we do still have to follow the state guidance, and so there could be some in-person classes in the fall, but it's just hard to determine. So the best thing to do is really just checking our website, and as soon as we are offering something in person or if something will remain online, we update our website, and so that's the best place to check. And if you can't find the answer, you can email our student services representatives. Are pretty quick. They get back to you within a day or two at the latest. Except if you're emailing on Friday, then they will respond to you on a Monday. So just send us an email, and then we can kind of help you. And I know there's different tracks and different interests. So if you're looking to figure out which courses you should take for Lean or where to start, then just start by sending us an email at extension@ucsc.edu, and we can kind of get you on the right track and at least get you somewhere where you should start, because everybody's case is different. It looks like a couple folks are raising their hands, so I'm going to go ahead and invite them to speak so they can ask their questions. Hi, Evan, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask how many or what percentage of your enrolled students at any given time are international students?
That varies year to year, and with the current state, it just really depends on year to year. Are you an international student?
No, I'm here on behalf of somebody who's very interested in gathering information for them.
Okay.
And if it's something that's possible, it really helps to know that other people do this, and then kind of directing myself to the next resource about how to achieve that.
Absolutely. What I'm going to do is send you a couple of links in the chat right now that kind of go through the process and the procedure and who you can contact, because that'll be the best way, and then everyone else can see that, because it is a long answer of how you would apply and depending on your status and everything. So I'll put that info in the chat in just a moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd say just from personal experience, I've had a lot of international students in my classroom here when we were on the ground, and I had some individuals that even came here and moved here from different countries so that they could come to UC Santa Cruz Extension. So yeah. We definitely have our share.
I agree. I feel the same way. There's a good number of international students in my classes. That were before we had this pandemic.
Exactly. That's why. But actually, we have Kathy Harrington with us today in the audience, and I'm going to go ahead and pass on her information so you can connect with an advisor and get your questions answered.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Shanika, I'll go ahead and have you in.
Sorry. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'm not sure how to ask this, but I guess I'm looking for like specific response, or I don't know. But anyways, let me try it. So I'm actually taking I've taken a project management certificate courses before, and I'm just kind of, one thing that I noticed at the other place I took it at was that I didn't really feel confident being able to pursue or start working right away as a project manager, because it wasn't very practical. There wasn't that much of templates or feedback in terms of actually filling out the project management templates and stuff. It was more theory based. although you know, it was good in a sense where the instructors were amazing and they could speak based on like practical experience. So that was a wealth of information. But in terms of like practical experience in the classroom and the templates and stuff like that that are being applied, like how, like what percentage of that, like what does that look like from a practical perspective in this program, like the project and program management certificate program? That's what I'm referring to specifically.
So are you saying that when your practical experience didn't reflect what was happening in the classroom?
I'm saying that like the classes that I've taken so far were more theory based than practical, if that makes sense. And so it just really went based on the PMBOK book, the 6th edition, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I can't speak for all the instructors, but in my classes, the first thing I simulate is a team. If you're in one of my classes, you're on a team, all right? So you have to interface with other students, and remotely most of the time, because we're remote now. It used to be in the classroom, but you still had remote communication between your team members. So that's first practical thing. The second thing I insist upon is that you're delivering a product to me. I'm your supervisor or your management, representing your management in your company. So you're delivering a product to me that your next salary interviews depend upon. Okay. In other words, I want a quality product that you would expect in a given company. So what I'm saying is I put them in a simulated project, and they make a deliverable, and they work on that deliverable. If there's a 10-week project, they work on that deliverable every week, and they build components to that, and the team discusses it. They turn it into me. I take a look at it and make comments and return it to them until they get to turn it back into me again and make improvements, hand-on improvements, and they're working continuously. And I can tell you, that's the way it was when I was working on projects, all right? We worked as teams. We produced an item for our management. Our management take a look at it and say, well, that's not what I wanted. Take this back and fix it, okay? So in that regard, I would say, and I believe, I've talked to other project instructors. I believe most of them are following that type of routine where we're trying to simulate what you're going to run into in real life, all right? And on a real project, okay?
Okay, so I know that one of the classes that you're teaching that I was interested in was, I think and don't quote me on it, it was like delivering business value. It was under the Agile section of elective courses.
Yes.
Yeah, I was very interested in that.
Yep.
And I was wondering like what type of practical assignments or templates are used like in that course, for example, because I think it's like 4 weeks or something like that, or 5 weeks over the span.
Yeah, it's a 5-week course. You're talking about the Extreme Agile class?
No, it's like delivering business value, and you focus on value stream mapping, I believe.
Oh, it's a Lean Agile class.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the first thing you're going to do is a value stream map, okay? And you're going to work that on a team, okay? So we're talking about value stream. And one of the discipline Agile certificates is in value stream management, it turns out, all right? So we're talking about lean concepts, Agile concepts. We're talking about a value stream. So the major project there is to put together a value stream of a fairly involved value stream, okay, or our stream of work. Okay, and then we talk about other issues, some other projects I give them. In addition to that, I have them write the final exercise is what did you get out of this class that you can go forward with? Okay, what did you learn here that you can carry forward to your company? And I tell them that's what they're going to write on before the first night. So they're thinking about that for the full 5 weeks. So they learned the value stream. They learned the concepts that we brushed on here tonight about What does it mean to be lean? What does it mean to deliver value? What does it mean to pass a defect? We build in quality, and we don't pass defects. Okay, so we learn that that's like one of the commandments. You don't pass a defect to the customer, especially. And the further the defect gets passed, the more expensive it gets, exponentially expensive it gets. So I emphasize a lot of practical issues there that I think come out of these concepts that we talk about. Talking about value, talking about building quality in, not passing defects to your customer. Okay, maximizing flow, minimizing waste, work to capacity, don't work to overcapacity, don't multitask. There's a lot of really strong principles that you should be able to take out of there and apply in any environment that you work in. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. And then my last question is, or another question I have, is regarding the Capstone course, especially the other courses. Are there actual like assignments that are being used that can be kind of like seen as like a portfolio? Or so I think I emailed you or someone, one of the reps a couple months ago, and in the email it said something about like the work that's done is good enough so that it can be used a part of the CV or something like that. I don't know, something along those lines.
Well, in the Capstone course, you're talking about applied project management course. I teach, I'm one of the instructors for that course. And there's a scenario, and you may be surprised to hear what the scenario is. And I put this scenario together when I first started teaching a course, which is probably well over 10 years ago, probably 12, 13 years ago. And the scenario is there is I won't call it a pandemic, but there is a virus outbreak due to a biological hazard or biological warfare. And your job is to put together a system to get vaccine to the right people and the right time. Okay. And you're going to put together a system to do that. You're going to put together an IT system that identifies where the victims are, where the medication is, how are you going to get it there, what do you need to do to build, what do you need to build to do that? Okay, what infrastructure you need to build to do that? So you put together a project plan, and it's a 10-week assignment, and there's 10 sections of that, weekly sections to that plan that you deliver weekly. And we put that plan together at the end of the project, and you come away from the course with a project plan showing how you're going to react to a virus outbreak. All right. And you can go sit down in front of somebody, interview for a job, and say, this is the kind of work I do. Okay, here's a project plan about, we're doing work breakdown structures, we're doing project network diagrams, we're doing fast tracking, we're doing all kinds of techniques. And I'll guarantee you, most of the project managers you sit down with and show them that plan, I would say most of them will not be familiar with all the things you did, okay, in that plan.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Thank you for explaining that. Also, I asked this before from a program rep, but they weren't really able to speak to it, so that's why I'm glad I'm here. But where does the program aspects or responsibilities kind of come out of this program? Because I think program management is more so like deciding on like what type of projects should be worked on and when they should be worked on, from my high level understanding. So is that how much depth is that covered in the required courses?
Alan, you have any comments about that?
I would say that it really depends on the makeup of the students that we have in a classroom. Because if we've got students that are more focused on program, we spend a little bit more time on those aspects, a little bit higher on the strategic side, portfolio management. I would say though that the majority of our focus is pretty much still on the project basis, with the understanding how it interfaces with the programmatic side. but every once in a while, we'll have a group of students that really focus on it. So as an instructor, I tend to say, this is great. Let me talk to you, and then we'll kind of customize it at that stage to give them a little bit extra, more than where we would normally go, say in the normal course of the class. So if you need it, you ask us.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you so much for answering that. And my last question is, when I was doing my research on the 7th edition, I noticed that, yes, like they're putting a lot more Agile into it, but I also noticed like an emphasis on governance and in project management. And I'm wondering, like, do you guys cover that? And to the extent where like we understand like how to apply governance into the setting or the environment we're working in as a project manager? Just curious, because I hardly see emphasis on that, at least in like the curriculum outlines. I don't mean specifically in your school, but just in general when I'm looking at project management. I know you guys have OPAs, I think.
I think that's probably an area that we touch on, but I'm thinking about my own classes. I don't know whether I would say that I emphasize governance. It's something that I guess you assume as a project instructor, but maybe isn't emphasized enough for the students. So it's something, maybe an area to think about. I don't for my own classes. I don't know about.
Yeah, I'd say in my scaled Agile class, I do it workshop style, and we set up the Lean Agile Center of Excellence. So I had a couple of students when they're doing their project, which was back when the classroom we were in person, that they actually did cover the governance areas, but it depends on where they're working and what their environment is. So it is something that we would cover if needed, but it's not part of the standard curriculum, that I offered, but it certainly would be supported in terms of, specific industries and them including it in their overall planning for the Lean Agile Center of Excellence.
Yeah, if you think about governance as decision-making processes and resolving of conflicts, then that's an area that we do talk about in the leadership and communication class. We might even talk about, I don't know, politics, right? Which I think we have a lot of students that are worried about that, right? Because I would like to manage my projects without politics, and I think we say, where would you do that then? So we view politics as actually just one of the areas that you have to navigate as a project manager. So in that sense of governance, right, the ability to make decisions in uncertainty and when not everyone agrees, in this cultural environment that we're in, then yeah, we do cover those topics.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was a very helpful response. And then my last question is, do you guys is there, because I've noticed when I was asking about some courses that are going to be offered in the next, I don't know, I guess month or so, in a few weeks, I noticed that there's not that high of an enrollment rate. Is there a cap? If it's just me and one other person that enrolled for whatever reason, or is there a limit that you guys have where you don't offer the courses, or you guys cancel?
That's kind of a rolling dynamic issue at the present time, given the circumstances.
Absolutely, yeah, and so that's why we just encourage people to enroll early, because if people are waiting till the last minute, it kind of ends up being a double thing where people want to wait to enroll because they're worried about it getting canceled. But then if you wait too long, it can get canceled. So we really encourage folks that if you're interested, let us know, enroll as soon as possible, work out a plan for when you're going to take which course. That's where we have our charts of when courses are offered on our website. And if you have more specific questions like that, we just encourage you to contact us, talk more about that. We're right at 7 o'clock. So if anyone else has questions, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll wait a few seconds. And then in the meantime, Frank, Alan, Gail, thank you so much for being here tonight. I feel like the audience got a lot out of it. if you had any last minute parting words of wisdom before we end.
Well, I'm just thrilled to be part of helping others. I think I'm at a point in my career where I would like to give the benefit of my experience to my students, especially, and to have them be in a situation where they don't make the mistakes I made. All right, and so I'm hoping to be successful in that area.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Frank. Alan, Gail. Thank you. Okay, great. So it doesn't, Shanika, I'm going to go ahead and connect with you separately about that last question. And everyone else, thank you so much for attending. If you think of anything, let us know. It was great to have you all with us tonight. And the recording should be available on our YouTube channel in about a week or so. So feel free to check that there. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.